After a very short train journey from Carlisle, I've just arrived at one of my all-time favourite stations. Wetheral is at the northern end of the picturesque Eden Valley, just before the river flows out into the flat, open areas around Carlisle, and then into the Solway Firth.
Northern service to Carlisle. Calling at Carlisle only. This train is formed of 2 carriages. The next train to arrive at platform 2 is the 1317 Northern service to Carlisle.
Like most rural stations today, only the most basic facilities are provided. A shelter from the weather on each platform and a ticket issuing machine. Back in the heyday of the railways, it would have been a different scenario. The station master was an important figure in the community and was provided with a fine residence. His home was situated between the classic Northeastern Railway footbridge and the magnificent 100-foot viaduct carrying the railway over the deep valley of the River Eden. The village of Great Corby lies just across the river, but the shortest road journey between the two communities is over 3 miles. When the railway opened, the locals took to walking along the tracks over the river, so the company added a toll footbridge to the viaduct. It remains in use toll-free today. So let's have a look at the River Eden, the village of Wetheral and its beautiful surroundings. Corby Castle was for centuries a home of the Howard family, Dukes of Norfolk, but today it belongs to the Irish businessman Edward Hockey. You may wonder why I linger on Wetheral Church, but for me it has strong railway connections. Some years ago I attended the wedding here of an old friend from my London years who married late in life. His bride Wetheral is the granddaughter of David Wallace. Who? David Wallace was the driver of a stopping train from Carlisle to Beatock, which on Saturday the 22nd of May 1915 was shunted onto the wrong track, where it was hit head-on by a speeding troop train which had been wrongly cleared to enter the section, causing the worst disaster in the entire history of railways in the British Isles, with 226 dead and a similar number horribly injured. Wetheral as a child had been very close to her grandfather and heard the story directly from him. She had never been to Quinton's Hill, and it was I who took her there for the first time. Davy Wallace and his firemen had spotted the approaching train, jumped down from their locomotive, and escaped the carnage. And so back to the station, which sees little these days except 156 and 158 units commuting across the pleasant but not very fast route between Carlisle and Newcastle. About half of these trains stop at Wetheral. There is a small community of people living along the riverbank, 100 feet below the railway. Their access to the station calls for stamina. The old watermill is now a private residence, but the remains of the mill race are still in evidence. And now clamber back up to the station and take a walk across the viaduct, after watching another train.
Only. This train is formed of 2 carriages. The next train to arrive at platform 2 is the 14:59 Northern service to Carlisle.
So, to the other side to access Great Corby, or at least the level crossing at Corby Gates, where a minor road crosses the track. Curiously, the Ordnance Survey map appears to show this as a road underbridge, rather than a level crossing. Now began a long wait. I stopped filming after 4.5 minutes, and imagine that the waiting motorists must be calling the signalman some choice names. Eventually, But the gates remain closed. Something else must be coming. It feels about 10 minutes now since those gates closed. Take a look at the traffic that's built up on this quiet road. Incidentally, how many places do you know where you can legally get this close to an active mainline railway? Go on, admit it. You thought that was the train coming. But now the one we've really been waiting for is due, and it's running early. The easy gradients of the Newcastle and Carlisle Railway hold no terrors for an IC 125 set. So back to the station and the first of two trains home. First, however, the inevitable non-stop. Whilst I pack my kit away and wait for the next stopping train, thanks for sharing this glorious April day with me, and as ever, here's to the next time.